Welcome back to another FSD journey in downtown Chicago. Today, I'm taking Hardware 3 through one of the most difficult areas in the city of Chicago. So join me. I'm extremely excited to present this drive to you, starting with this incredible right turn. Watch how FSD immediately signals to move into the left lane. As soon as it turns right, it moves into the left lane in anticipation for the upcoming steep left turn. Moments like this, when you're driving along and the car makes such smooth maneuvers, it not only makes you feel very comfortable, but it makes you scream inside with excitement. It never used to be like this. FSD isn't 100% perfect right now, but the writing is clearly on the wall that Tesla has solved full self-driving. And the crazy part? Very few people understand this. When I explain it to my friends who haven't tried it before, they always think it's some sort of party trick, or that it's similar to enhanced cruise control, and they'll try to relate with experiences from their own car. But as much as you explain it, they still don't understand. It's something you truly have to witness firsthand to believe. As my 2019 Model 3 enters the Eisenhower Expressway heading east, it merges seamlessly with relatively busy traffic. FSD quickly realizes it needs to move over 2 lanes to avoid taking I-94 west toward Wisconsin. It then moves over 1 extra lane right here to pass slower moving traffic. This is exactly what I would have done if I had been driving manually. And this is becoming the norm these days. My car is set to hurry mode as it continues toward Lower Wacker Drive to arrive at the Fairmont Chicago Hotel off Michigan Avenue. Tesla is one of the few companies, if not the only company, that has invested such significant amounts of money towards solving full autonomy. The NVIDIA-powered Cortex cluster at the Gigafactory Texas location and the total AI-related CapEx outlay, including Dojo, is now more than $5 billion. Tesla expects to spend more than $10 billion on CapEx in each of the next 2 years for its entire EV infrastructure. As my car approaches the city, you're going to see it seamlessly turns on its turn signal and moves appropriately into the correct lanes. Check out this turn coming up where we actually go through a brief tunnel. My car is in line and getting ready to move over. This car coming right in front of me didn't pose any challenge to FSD. It let them in very, very seamlessly and continues through the loop. In previous drives, FSD has struggled a couple times knowing exactly where to go here. For example, a lot of the times it would turn right here and go up above, but this is the first time in a long time that FSD has taken the correct path to go down to Lower Wacker Drive.
We're going in.
Sharp turn. Ooh boy.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if I like this.
Wow. Underground freeway.
And because we're in Chicago, I do have to mention that scenes from the Blues Brothers were filmed down here.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely Lower Wacker Drive.
This is definitely Lower Wacker Drive.
As well as scenes from The Dark Knight, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So if any of this looks familiar, you may have seen it in one of your favorite films at some point.
Yeah, this has The Dark Knight all over it.
Gotham City.
Yep.
This is an iconic road in the city of Chicago. It's very challenging with all of these lights. You can see the red lights on the right, the green lights on the left. You have a lot of different signs showing up, and it is correctly going 30 miles per hour, staying in the correct lane behind these other cars. It does so well on Lower Wacker Drive that I'm going to fast forward through the majority of this. However, it's important for me to point out that it still loses GPS connectivity down here. Even without GPS connectivity, it performs exceptionally well. It's really impressive. Now, coming up here, this is one area that it still struggles with, and it's very understandable. If you are from out of town, even if you live in Chicago, it's very hard to know exactly where to go here. We need to go right where the light is shining, going up out of this underground area. However, it always tends to want to go a little bit further, so I did have to take over there. That is one example where it's just not completely perfect. I do enable it straight away coming up here again, and right after this stop sign, Fairmont Chicago Hotel is immediately on the right. Now I have a number of destinations dialed in, including Fairmont Chicago, Nike Chicago, the Trump Tower, the Chicago Theater, and then finally the Willis Tower. So right here, I am removing the waypoint to continue on to the Nike Chicago store, which is off of Michigan Avenue. So there's a little bit of awkwardness here. The route is not, it's kind of recalibrating itself. It slows down here. It eventually makes its way all the way over to Michigan Avenue. And here is interesting because sometimes it would really give a lot of distance to allow this car, like you can see a car coming out here on the right. In previous versions, it would give them a lot of space. Here it does give them space. They come out, but in this particular situation, it closes the gap. That's a little bit different than what I've witnessed before. And I can't say that's the wrong thing per se. I actually probably would have done that if I were driving manually myself. Now look, the lead car, once they leave here, FSD is all on its own. It's like, all right, good luck, you got this. Thankfully, no pedestrians. It moves forward and goes straight through. This, again, brought a smile to my face where I was just extremely pleased with its performance. And driving in Chicago is actually now stress-free for me, believe it or not. Now, that is not to say that FSD is perfect, but FSD handles it so well now that I don't need to worry so much about the small things. I'm going to take a moment here to say thank you for being here and watching this video with me. It means the world to me. If you enjoy this, please consider subscribing. It goes a long way towards supporting me. I'm trying to grow my channel to 50,000 subs. Here you can see some people coming by with signs. I thought this was interesting. Thankfully, it was not an anti-Tesla protest. We have enough of those going around, but that was an interesting display there with these people crossing this crosswalk. Now, coming up here again, I fiddle around with the destination with the waypoint to delete it, but prior to that, you're going to see after I go through this intersection, and it's correctly leaving a gap here. And by the way, if I were driving, I probably would have closed that gap, but this was not the wrong thing to do. And you can see the car to my left, they waited as well. And I really wanted to point that out, but take a look here. It needs to go to the right. Nike Chicago is on the right. So it's begging to get into the right lane. And here it actually signals to get into the right. But watch what happens here. Right after it gets into the right lane, it immediately goes back to the left. Now it's hard to see why, but this is exactly what I would have done. I probably wouldn't have moved into the right lane because look at that bus up there. There's a bus dropping people off, and that bus is at a complete stop. And I truly believe that it saw that bus and moved out of that lane because of the bus. because as you can see coming up here, we need to turn right. Here again, it attempts to go right, but watch. Once again, it aborts because of that bus. I absolutely love that. It's almost like it forgot the bus was there, but then it saw it again, and it's like, nope, I can't go there. I'm not going to go there. But look, my destination is right here, and unfortunately, it tries to go right here, which I want to go straight. To be honest with you, I want to go straight. So I fiddle with the I fiddle with the map data again here to basically cancel that waypoint and have it continue on to the Trump International Tower. We need to go right here, so I'm driving manually to push it out into the right. In the past, I was able to have it route itself to go through this area. But here, now it locks in the route you can see in the upper right. And this is historically one of my favorite areas to test FSD. Let's just say it's my second favorite. After the Trump International Tower, you will see that is my absolute favorite place because there's a lot of stuff going on. But here, it's always fascinating, but in today's situation, not a whole lot of variety, not a whole lot of people, but this right turn up here is a little bit interesting. It waits, it's a one-way road here to turn right, and it's waiting. It's a red light, and it starts to go, but then it sees, and I had a hard time seeing this pedestrian, but there's a person here on the right. You can see behind me, there's a car, and they probably see my camera, and it's very hard to see, but there's someone there getting into their car, and it was hesitating because of that person getting into the car. Now, would I have gone if I were driving myself? Yes. And it made me a little bit uncomfortable because depending on the situation, the person behind you could be in a rush and they could start honking and get very upset when you take your time for stuff like that. But in a lot of cases, it's the right thing to do because there are pedestrians or something blocking the way. Coming up here, we are turning left onto Michigan Avenue, heading south. Now take a look at this. You have a family with 2 children and a parent, and they're moving forward here, and a lot of other people. It's hesitating and taking the appropriate caution. This was done brilliantly. Absolutely no issues. That's exactly what I would have done, and I probably would have chosen this exact same lane, taking the middle lane straight forward here. It proceeds down Michigan Avenue without any issues, and you can see all those cars in the right, including the buses. It's correctly passing by all of those cars and then getting over to the right after all of those vehicles were blocking the way. And you could see there was a little inlet there, and it knew it was there. It completely avoided that. Everything was done so well. It goes over the Chicago River here and then turning right onto Wacker Drive. And this is the upper Wacker Drive area. And then proceeding over to a traffic light and then turning right to arrive at the Trump International Tower. Now take a look at this intersection. We have a lot of people crossing, and I show the rear view mirror here because there is somebody waiting behind me. Now take a look inside of the vehicle. You can see all of these people here crossing the road. They are taking their time to cross the road. Now, right after these 2 people pass by, there is a gap, and my car starts to go, but look at these people coming. I get honked at, but this gentleman, he appreciates me waiting for him. It really was a toss-up whether or not the car should have gone or not. If I was driving manually, I probably would have gone. Now, you have to keep in mind when you're in a busy city, it's a lot more appropriate to just push yourself out there, but FSD is very polite, and for that, I really appreciate it. There was a little bus lane there on the right, and it took the appropriate move and didn't actually go into that area. In the past, it actually got stuck there, which was kind of funny. And here, before we turn right, we're waiting here for the light to turn green, but this makes me a little bit uncomfortable because I could be going right on red. Now, a Rivian comes up behind me, and they're already honking at me. This is the time to go, and thankfully it goes right here, but then look, it stops, and stops for good reason, because somebody's running across the street, and now we have even more people coming. Thankfully, they recognize, the Rivian driver behind me recognizes that, hey, there's a lot of people here, the car actually can't go. So moments like this make me kind of frustrated that other cars or other drivers are so impatient. People need to just chill the F out and relax, because you don't need to get to your destination 5 seconds earlier than what you're planning to get there at. And it's really irritating to me. So you have to let your emotions go when you're taking FSD on rides like this. So I'm playing with the waypoint here, deleting it, and that's why the visualizations changed there briefly. The Rivian passes me here. Thankfully, my car, I'd never disengaged it, by the way, there, but thankfully my car kind of moved over to the right because it was anticipating that it was going to stop there at the hotel. Now you can see another car coming up behind me. Someone's getting out of their vehicle here. It slows down. I would probably go around this vehicle. Now, this is always my favorite part. As I mentioned before, this is my number one most favorite part to test. And the reason why I just showed the rear view mirror is because that is another Tesla. They are most likely seeing my camera. So I have a huge pole on top of my car with a GoPro camera. So they most definitely recognize that. So they give me all the patience in the world, because this intersection here is extremely challenging. This is probably one of the most challenging areas here in downtown Chicago. So you can see the light is red, and we take all the time in the world to wait for the light to turn green. We can't turn left until the light turns green. So a lot of people crossing, that car just came there forward, and we have to wait until the light turns green. I'm going to take a moment here to just mention that up until now, the car has made a couple awkward moves, but 95 to 99% of this drive has been extremely stress-free. And it brings a huge smile to my face. I can't tell you enough how happy I am with the current state of full self-driving. And from what I understand from Black Tesla, we're in for a big surprise coming up in the next week. Guys, we really have a lot to look forward to here with FSD. Take a look here now. We can turn left, but there's a lot of pedestrians crossing and a lot of traffic. What is going to happen? This is so exciting for me. Look at this. Now that car goes, it's already making its way into the middle of the intersection. It never used to do this. That Tesla passed, by the way, already, but they gave a lot of time for me to sort things out. They thankfully never honked at me once, but my car didn't give it a reason to honk. And then turning left here, FSD always had the hardest time turning left in this particular area, but not anymore. I haven't had any issues for the past 6 months. This area is so nice. I mean, look at that bus. It's sitting right there. It chose the correct lane. I just can't be any more pleased with how it's performing right now. Now we have a little bit of traffic. I'm going to fast forward through some of this, and then we get to the Chicago Theater. I delete the waypoint at Chicago Theater, and then the last destination is the Willis Tower. Now you're going to see here there is a bridge as we go over the Chicago River here, and it always trips up. But take a look at these pedestrians crossing this intersection. I didn't even see them here. My car slows down for the crosswalk, and I was a little bit irritated because I probably would have gone, but I slowed it down here just to take a look, and you can see the pedestrians coming out between the cars, and they are actually moving. I didn't even see them. So it's a really good thing that my car stopped because, like I said, that's something I just simply didn't notice. It did the right thing here. A human driver probably wouldn't have been that courteous, but here it slows down for... It always trips up at this traffic light, which only operates when the drawbridge goes up to allow ships or boats to go under the bridge. So I do report that there. It should not have stopped there, so I did have to press on the accelerator. As I mentioned earlier, FSD is not perfect, but for all intents and purposes, it does really, really well down here. And this is a very chaotic environment. You could hear the sirens. There's a lot of stuff happening down in the city. Now take a look at this right turn. It's a green light, but watch, it turns from green to yellow and now to red. My car appropriately stops. Now take a look here. You're gonna see it needs to go out. See that red truck? That's where my car needs to go. If it turns right over in that other area, it's kind of like a parking zone. You can't drive there. A car is right behind me, and at this point, even though it's a red light, I would be pushing myself out into the intersection because there's no pedestrians in front of me, and it gets so awkward that the car behind me honks. And I'm sitting here waiting, and I'm like, okay, well, there's a lot of people crossing, but it's a red crosswalk sign, and it's a red light. They should not be crossing. So my car really should be going out. Now it's green. I definitely should be going out. My car starts to move and I'm waiting for a gap. And it gets so awkward here because I really need to be going. So I step on the accelerator just to be courteous to the people around me. I do report that in the city like this, you just need to be more assertive. Even though you're in hurry mode, the hurry mode, at least with hardware 3 right now, really only applies on the interstates, on the highways. Now I have a feeling with hardware 4, it would have behaved a little bit differently there. Take a look at this. We're turning right at this next traffic light. We've got a lot of construction cones here, but watch, it finds this gap just in time and goes in between those construction cones. I thought that was brilliant. It did really well. Then as soon as it turns right, it goes left to move into the left turn lane because you can see in 2 traffic lights up ahead, we need to turn left. Before, it didn't have that intelligence to know, okay, after 2 traffic lights, we need to turn left. It would always be a lot shorter distances where it would move over. Here it makes this turn under the bridge really, really nicely. Everything here, beautiful. It moves over to the right lane very quickly, very smoothly. You can see in front of us here, there is a Cybertruck. And that's kind of cool to see in the city. Now look at this cyclist. My car slows down to 9 miles per hour. It is a 30 mile per hour. I think it saw that cyclist, and also it knows we need to turn right here. But watch what happens. This blew me away. I'm going to slow it down for you. We're turning right here. There's a cyclist over there. A car passes me on the left. My car is 7 miles per hour. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Look how quickly it slowed down for that cyclist. I was so happy when it did that. That was really, really a fast reaction and exactly the right thing to do. I was very pleased with how FSD operated downtown Chicago on 12.6.4, and I think hardware 3 deserves a lot more credit than what people have been giving it. All said and done, FSD did an incredible job. This is very practical. It's something I would be using hands down in any given situation, in a city especially where I don't know where to go. If I'm unfamiliar with the streets and the directions, this is very, very useful, and that perhaps is the best use case for FSD today. It's gotten so incredibly good now that I can sit back and relax. I used to be a ball of stress coming down here to test with FSD, but now it does so well that I don't really need to be so worried anymore. There were 2 interventions, just a little bit slow to proceed through various intersections, and then there were a couple awkward moments. I did report a couple of times, but overall, I think it was a huge success, and there were highlights in there that impressed me for sure. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to this channel to support a small creator like myself. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and until the next one, have a great day.